That is the reality in Uganda. Hungry mothers, hungry fathers, miserable people. This and more is what was happening in places we go to. Hungry and mean-looking soldiers holding brand new weapons, but on their side, miserable children with no future to speak of. But it reminded me that that is how Museveni sees us. He sees us as his slaves. He sees us as people that are only supposed to be used as tools for him to milk our country. The people of Uganda will recall that in his inaugural speech in 1986, President Museveni branded leaders like himself today as, a pathetic spectacle. He said in 1986, and I quote, he said, "The Honorable Excellency, who is going to the United Nations in executive jet," because he knows he has no way. He has to use violence now. We are here, but we are mourning the death of more than 50 recorded young men and women, innocent citizens. Many of them were going about their business and they were shot dead. Many of them were only speaking out against injustice. He sentenced them to death because he believes that by threatening anybody that dares to speak out, he will be silencing us. I also saw the Minister of Security, General Tumwine, confirming that indeed their police has the power to execute any citizen. We condemn that, and we continue to tell him that the people of Uganda will be free. Of course, Museveni did not want me to go to Masaka or Chiruhura or Rukunjiri or Ntungamo because he's scared. He does not want people to show support. He has always been claiming that our support is only in the central region, only in urban areas, but I'm sure the truth was clear for everybody to see that indeed the people of Uganda from all corners, from north to the south, from the west to the east, all of them are yearning for change. All of them are ripe for change. You all notice that they've tried as much as possible to brand us as violent. And as I always reiterate to our comrades in the struggle, that we are non-violent and we don't intend to use violence whatsoever to achieve our desired goal. We don't believe in violence. We know the regime is trying as much as possible to brand us violent so they can, respond to us with violence. And sadly, these people that are being used to make violence to innocent citizens they are equally miserable. I met an elderly man in Nebi who has been a police officer for a long time. He struggled as much as possible, selling even the land that his parents left to him to take his son through school. He has a son who wants to be a police officer. Of course, he studied economics, but after 4 years of graduation, he has not found a job. But this man, all through his career, all through the 40 years of him serving in police, he has been promoted only once. He has lived to witness the sons and daughters of those who are well known fly through the ranks past him. But now his son wants to join the police. Yes, I mean, after his bachelor's degree, he has not gotten a job. He's at crossroads seeking advice from me. And me, my advice to him was to vote, to come out and vote, because this cannot be fixed if we don't have a better leadership. This cannot be fixed if we don't have a leadership that considers, merit while promoting the men and women in uniform. Of course, so many other people that I met, the young nurses, there's even a nurse that was, fired for interpreting for me when I went to, where is this before? To Nebi. No, to Pakwach, actually. I was in Pakwach. This nurse is going through trouble for translating words that are not inciting violence, for translating words that are only communicating a message of freedom. My fellow Ugandans, I only want to encourage you to be firm. I only want to encourage you to believe in change that is before our very eyes. We are going to the polls on January 14th. Although Museveni and his people are trying as much as possible to stamp it in our minds that we don't have a right to change our fortunes through a vote, although they've unleashed brute force trying to communicate to us that even when we vote him out, he has the capacity to rig the election. But I want to give you confidence, my brothers and sisters, that it is possible. We have seen more brutal dictators around us, but the power of the people has prevailed, and the people's voice has ultimately reigned supreme. So I want to give you confidence. I want to give you encouragement. It is sad that we lost our people. It is sad that our country continues to be divided by people that know how dangerous it is to divide us, but we as a generation should stick together. We as a people should remember that we are stronger together and we are more united than divided. All through history, these dictators, they unleash brute force. They use young men and women to brutalize their fellow citizens, but when it's time for them to go, they run away alone. I want to send a message to our brothers and sisters in uniform, those in police, those in the military, those in prisons, and all security agencies. Friends, do not be misled by these men and women whose future is already behind them. Please don't be misled. I want you to remember that you are living in a generation where everything is on camera. And I'm sure you've seen in the past that at the end of the day, each officer that abuses the rights and freedoms of the people ultimately answers individually. We know many of you are good citizens. We know many of you are good officers. I've interacted with many of you, and indeed you have communicated to me that you don't like the orders that you are being given. So I appeal to you to stick by what you are trained. You are not trained to brutalize Ugandans. For you, the police officers, you are trained to protect life and property of the citizens. You are trained to keep law and order. You are officers of the law. For the soldiers, the military men and women, you are trained to protect Uganda and its sovereignty. Your enemies are not the Ugandans. So don't be used. We know also that the regime decided to use some bandits, like historically it's known that the regime has used bandits, or they have been bandits themselves in the past. So they've decided to use some armed hooligans who show up on our streets without uniform, but wielding dangerous guns, AK-47 and others, shooting and murdering unarmed civilians. I want to remind you, friends, that there will be a time